Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to Kingsport Lighthouse. Doing a different recording of this video. I know I did one a while back. I'm not going to focus on the town this time. As you can see, the tower's kind of missing some stuff. If you caught my original video, I had put some, there were radars to draw in settlers, and no matter what I did to try to shut them off, they kept attracting people, and I ended up with 173 settlers in here that I had to come back and give the 45 Express off the map to, because it was just unplayably laggy. Using a controller to record this one, so hopefully it's a little better in people's eyes so I'm not twitching the mouse all over. Coming in.
Huh?
This is kind of the holding and processing area. It's also where the guards stay at. There are beds up top for our people that are coming in that aren't really a security risk. People are going to be traveling to the Commonwealth on our ships on occasion. We're coming inside. We do have a jail cell
Isn't that something?
with one prisoner currently in there. See. Over here is kind of where anyone who's not a security risk can stay. Due to the sudden increase in settlers, I had to jam a bunch of beds in here. But, for the most part, it's a very comfortable room for people to wait until they're being transferred to a settlement, which really isn't a whole lot of paperwork as much as it is just getting them an escort. In my playthrough, I have it set to basically a zombie apocalypse, so you can't really roam around on your own as a settler. You're gonna end up getting eaten. Got the weapons vendor for any Marines that are going out, as well as the coastal battery here to overlook the bay. Now I'm not going to walk up through this entire tower because, like I said, I had to delete a bunch of things. It's no longer that impressive. There used to be a whole bunch of radio equipment, things like this over here, as well as a giant, it's from the flying ship, I'm having trouble remember the name of it. It's like a giant radar dish that used to sit up there for radio communications, as well as this being the armored
up if you need it.
radio tower.
Small fee, of course.
How do I have a doctor in the tower? Huh. Very good view of where the Brotherhood's Pridwin used to be floating at over there, which is why this is so well armored. The Commonwealth Marines are my homebrewed faction within the Minutemen. Minutemen are basically the National Guard of the Commonwealth, and the Marines are the ones that'll go out to Far Harbor and just more distant places than what the Minutemen are capable of getting to. Coming over here, I've got a little bit of a graveyard going on, but that's not why we're here. Today we're here to retour
I don't remember the last time I had clean
the CMS Leviathan. At one point I'd considered this my answer to the Pridwin, something capable of hauling an entire force around wherever they needed to go. Basically thought of it as like a dreadnought in the wasteland. The reason this is being recorded again is simply because that's no longer the case. This is no longer the largest vessel that I have ever built. It is, in fact, one of the smallest. So this is no longer considered a dreadnought, it is an exploratory cruiser. Now, as you can see, it's got the 4 massive turbines as well as the tugboat's propulsion. I'm not going to go underwater, check it out, but you can see this is built on the tugboat hull, using a whole lot of base game assets and magical Brahmin. For anyone going out or coming in, they're obviously going to be hungry.
What is
So,
it?
Deacon's over here,
Since here to spy on.
running the bar.
Yeah.
Now this ship took about a week for me to build in total. Whole lot of differently placed assets, like these are all single items that I placed down. Someone's been working on the engine. We got the bubble turrets for defense against any sharks or whales. I do have mods that install hostile animals, so Have to have some way of defending against that. Got one lifeboat on this side, there's one on the other side. The ship actually has enough room on the lifeboats for all of its passengers, so this will not be a Titanic. A little bit of propaganda on the outside, and then there's a net down at the bottom in case anybody were to fall off. They could just simply come over here, climb back up, and get in through the door. I really hope that radio doesn't get this hit on YouTube. I forgot to shut that off. Coming around, we have our weapons station, as well as this is the engine room. We're able to produce a small amount of ammunition when we're out. Go back in the first person to make this easier to view. Just all the tools and things that we would need to keep anything running around here. The fire control systems, as well as all the extinguishers. Good access to the winches for bringing up the anchors. And this is blocked off because this is one of two bathrooms on the ship. This is the only shower. As you can see, it is very, very tight quarters. I can't even third person in here really. It's functional. It's not something that they're going to want to use for a very long period of time. But in the apocalypse, you gotta work with what you got. So, got the donut fryer here and more cooking supplies so we get around to the galley. All sorts of food and drink. And the reason there's all this fish in Sydney over here processing them is because we encourage all of our Marines to take some time to do some fishing every single day. Basically a way to kind of meditate, I guess you could say, for them. Sit here, catch some fish, but it also keeps everybody fed. Someone's got their smokes and their cola lined up, as well as we keep them very well stocked with all the fishing essentials. Coming in here, we have the galley.
Hello, ma'am.
Got our chef hard at work, as well as one of the other kitchen staff cleaning up. All sorts of coffee, because you gotta have the essentials.
Crops been growing pretty good lately.
As you can see, there is supplies in pretty much every container here. Kind of went above and beyond with decorating that side. In the radiators are because in the Fallout universe, coolant seems to be the main thing that is used up in the nuclear vehicles. With that in mind, we installed an extra radiator system throughout the ship. This will extend the life of our coolant when we're using the nuclear-powered engines, simply by giving it more room to actually cool off into, instead of seeming to burn up. It's never really explained in the Fallout universe why they go through coolant the way they do. So, we use this as kind of a central heating, because it is in the center of the ship. And you'll notice we can make announcements throughout the ship. There are different speakers set up in here. This is what makes any Minuteman faction anything Minutemen to me. It's just the sheer amount of firepower and all the artillery they can bring to bear. This suit here is the diving suit that we have, as well as our oxygen tanks. More ammunition down here, as well as a way to make those artillery shells extra spicy. And then just a whole lot of boom. We've even got some alien weapons, miniguns, explosives. Kind of the worst case scenario, they can grab that beacon and set that off to call in an airstrike, because I do have an aircraft carrier that I've built.
General.
Huh?
Coming back out here, we will go to the aptly named meditation area, because Nothing is more meditative than firing the big guns for a Marine.
Hey, John.
Here we got Stuart manning them currently. Over here he's got his topographical map of the Commonwealth, so that he has a very good reference when he's firing to know if he needs to aim higher or lower depending on the terrain. A little bit of weapons maintenance going on as well in their spare time. As you can see, the front end has double-plated armor pretty much all around, so I'm not too worried about the shells being hit by anything.
Hey, John.
We have both security cameras in here for security reasons, as well as the big camera to fill in the gun firing, because with things like Starlight Drive-In and there's another drive-in in Far Harbor, the projectors are working, so to me, we want to record the firing events and be able to play them as propaganda. Like, look at what we can do. We can take out all these raiders in one go. Coming over here, we have the second bathroom. And this one is a little less cramped, but doesn't have a shower. Just has a little bit of graffiti. Someone's been spending too much time in there. As you can see, it's all armored all around. There's a lot of overlapping metal pieces. Coming up here, we have our first defensive turret. This is a 50 caliber pintle mount. Here's the other lifeboat that I had mentioned. This goes back down to the engine bay, as well as the stair on the other side. As I said near the start, this is built on a tugboat, so if you're familiar with the base game tugboat model, you already know the layout. Another security camera, as well as another loudspeaker. Got a little bit of chemistry equipment here, because if you get injured, this is where the doctor is.
You work to eat. It's as simple as that.
Now, little side note for anybody who might want to build something like this is entirely without nav mesh. Now, if you're unfamiliar what that means NPCs really, really hate being here, because according to the game logic, there should be absolutely nothing here for them to stand on. Anybody you see standing around is either random chance
If you need fixing
or
up, let's get
assigned
working.
to certain stations, like this defensive station here, or this doctor. If you have OCD and you want to get people in a custom settlement like this, it is a nightmare. Coming in here, we have the main bridge, where Captain Longfellow is hard at work. As you can see, he has his own map of the Commonwealth, as well as the security camera footage all around. The main bridge is armored from the front, because I figure if we have the main gun constantly pointed forward, chances are any fire is going to be coming from that direction. So I got a little bit of visibility off to the sides, just for awareness reasons. And then his assistant here was originally meant to be a completed robo-brain. And it was completed, until it decided to try to navigate some stairs during high waves. Ever since then, the Marines couldn't really fix the legs, so they just made a planter, stuck it in there, and now we have Sprout. Sprout is responsible for monitoring security camera footage 24/7. Even when Captain Longfellow is asleep, there's always someone watching, as well as being responsible for the math side of firing the gun, figuring out where it needs to be aimed and relaying that in real time to the actual gunner, who has to then put in the different math. I'm not an artillery expert, so I'm not even going to guess at what the proper terms would be for all that. Not even going to bother lying.
We heading out?
Here we have our radio station, so he can communicate with the rest of the fleet, as well as he's got his missile launcher, because Longfellow is not afraid to go out and fight the Brotherhood if one of their vertebrates come calling. Got a 308 machine gun. Not really jump off. Oh, and we do have signal flares. These are for signaling the rest of the fleet that we're going to be firing the guns. In later builds, I started using the sirens as a warning. with the flares being more of an emergency use. However, on this very early build, I figured there needed to be some way of alerting people the guns are going to be going off, so that every ship around wouldn't start panicking, wondering what the hell is happening. Like, you can just look to the side. If there's flares going off, the guns are going to be firing. Everything's good. Go back to sleep. But here we have two 308s. Again, on a pintle mount. My logic with these is that the Marines on board would not stand by and wait for those automated turrets to do all the work. And as you can see, the turrets are off. That's because they're connected to a radar switch that'll only turn them on if an enemy is in range. So let's say they can see a vertibird coming from a long way. In my mind, the Marines are going to be grabbing all of these mounted guns and just putting lead down range before the automated guns even have a chance to do anything. I just don't see them standing idle. Now here, the Marines have kind of a sense of humor. They stow in these different signs because they want to warn anybody new that's coming on board so that you don't die. It's very precarious coming in to the bedrooms here, but this is where we store some of the power armor, as well as some personal effects and things of that nature. Off the back end, we have a defensive machine gun. This is a 50 caliber, as well as they've got a pipe rifle here for shooting at anything not really threatening. Maybe a mutated stingray for fun. Who knows? Up here, we have more bedding. And this is kind of a less cramped area, a little more spacious. Someone's got their own private suite over here. But there is a downside to being assigned up here. And that is because it is where the captain's cabin is located. When I first brought old Longfellow here, he refused to leave this chair. And ever since, this has been the captain's cabin. Figured a bunch of dirty Marines, like it's gonna happen. Might as well give them a place and some warnings and just hope for the best. That's about all you can do. Moving on. This is the actual captain's cabin. I've never heard Longfellow start singing before. Here's an overview of the front end with all the different lights as well as the signal flares. This is where the captain stays. He's a very simple man. He's an old-timer, doesn't need a whole lot of material things. He's got his first aid, as well as part of the heating unit. Just a very, very basic setup in here. And just more defensive turrets. Now this is part of that radar station setup that I was talking about. Let's see if I can get that back on screen. Basically, this is a large scanning switch that'll turn those on if they're needed. Up here is the topmost controls. Now this is because, let's say we need to navigate a narrow channel or even try to dock. The fact that visibility is so limited in the main bridge would make that very difficult. So the captain's able to come up here and have perfect visibility all around. It's got very basic instrumentation up here. Just the essentials for basically navigating. You wouldn't want to use this in combat because it has no armor. Like, someone's just going to chew it up with small arms fire. This is only for really fine navigation. I highly, highly doubt I'll be able to get the guns to fire. But let's see if we can go out on a bang. course I missed the first firing. We'll see if we get it again. There we go.
Gentlemen.
Always love showing off that animation. The 177, I believe this is, M177 howitzer is just such a nice mod. That might not be the name of it. You should be able to find it on the Bethesda official if you just type in howitzer. I do know it's on Xbox as well as PC. Very, very highly recommended mod if you're using the Minutemen. But thank you for watching my tour of the CMS Leviathan. I'll be uploading more tours of different vessels that I've built coming pretty soon. I wanted to remake this video first because the original one had just such poor audio quality. I've recorded it without a headset, just wanted to show my friends something that I built in Fallout. And now I'm re-recording these because I've actually gotten a lot more attention on Discord and Facebook and Reddit. So I hope everybody enjoyed this tour, maybe got some inspiration for your own builds, and I look forward to seeing what everybody comes with in their own world. Thank you for watching,